there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Today I am inspired by this pack of butterflies. So this is a pack of, I don't even know how many is in here, but there's a lot, especially once you spread them out. And these are kind of like vellum stickers almost. They are adhesive backed, so they're self-adhesive. And there are just lots and lots of different colors of butterflies. So it kind of takes a minute for you to kind of look through them all and see what is actually there. There are some kind of lighter ones that are more pastel-y colors. There are some that are pretty dark and vibrant, and they're all really, really gorgeous. But what I have done is I have gone through and picked out some that are kind of yellows, oranges and blues was what I was going for today. So I just went through, picked out the ones I kind of liked the look of, made them into a big group, and then from there is where I started my project. So these are the ones that I've chosen. And again, I don't end up using anywhere near all of these, but this is just kind of, I needed to narrow the selection a little bit so that my mind could focus on the card that I wanted to make today. So I'm starting with a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece of Nina Solar White. And just for the minute, I'm going to pop the butterflies down just so that I can kind of get a feel for the layout and how I want them to go. What I want is to cover pretty much the entire background with these butterflies, not super close together, but just close enough. So I'm just kind of having a bit of a play, and I pop some in and I change the directions and the angles a little bit, and then once I decide I think I've got at least the start of it sorted, I am going to start peeling off the backings and popping them down. Now once you peel off the backing and put it down, they kind of have like a very small white border or a white edge, and this really fades into the background paper if you're putting it onto white paper. So because they are vellum, I guess it really looks like they're kind of stamped and colored on there, so you can't see a definitive edge where the sticker kind of ends, and that's what I like most about these vellum stickers that I've been using. So I really, really love how this project turned out, and it's a little bit different for me, but I do love it. So I am just finishing off putting down these stickers. Now these are very sticky, and once they're down, they're pretty much down. I think you could work away at trying to get them off again, but yeah, they are pretty sticky stickers. So I have made sure that I have gone off the edge with these butterflies, but I'm going to work on the next part here using the Hero Arts Infinity dies. These are the rectangles. I used 2 that were super close together, and I created all 4 of these thin frames. Because these butterflies create such a busy background, I really need to define the centerpiece of what this card is going to be. So to help me do that, that's why I'm creating these 4 frames and I'm stacking them up together to make one nice sort of chipboard looking frame. So from here, again, I'm going to work on that background. Now I have a really thin piece of just copy paper here. Any scrap copy paper would be great. And you could also use masking paper. That would be exactly the same thing. I'm taking the smaller of those 2 rectangle dies. I'm going to put a little bit of temporary adhesive right around the outside of that rectangle, and I'm going to use this as a mask. So I use this technique quite a lot when I'm doing mixed media projects, and this is kind of to calm down the background a little bit right in the centerpiece for me. So what I'm going to do, I'm using my little non-stick mat and some heavy white gesso. Any white gesso or even just white acrylic paint would work. I'm going to pop a little bit down on my mat. This is the replacement mat for the glass media mat, the Tim Holtz one. I don't have the glass media mat, but I do love the size of this little replacement non-stick sheet. So this is the one that I use every single time. I love it. I'll link it down below. But anyway, I have just watered down the gesso just a little bit. Then I am painting on a layer in the middle of that rectangle. And then I'm going to dry it and actually paint on another layer just so that I can wash back those butterflies a little bit more. Now, this is a personal choice sort of thing as to how much you want the butterflies to stand out. If you want your background to just be bright and beautiful, then just leave it be. But I quite like this look of toning down the middle. So this step is something that you can skip, but I like the results in the end too. I'm going to pull off that little mask, and you can definitely see quite a difference there. And again, the idea of doing this was so that that rectangle frame would help ease the transition between the toned down part and the outside part of the butterflies. So moving on to the focal point, I have these wooden feathers here. They're very lightweight, and I got these in a huge pack a long time ago. They were super cheap, and I will link them down below if I can still find them for you. I'm just using a little bit of low-tack tape to tape off a little bit of each of the feathers, and I'm trying to make sure it's on a nice angle. I have some gold metallic paint here. Now this one happens to be from Ranger, but any metallic paint would work absolutely just fine, or any paint in fact. You could do just a lovely pink or blue pastel or anything. Any colors here would work well. I'm going to do 2 layers of this gold paint, so I'm going to dry them in between to make sure that there's a nice thick layer there. And then once I've done the second layer, I'm going to make sure that these are completely dry. You can either dry them with a heat gun or let them dry naturally. Peel off those couple of pieces of tape, and now I am going to stamp my sentiments on these as well. So I love the look of these feathers already. I'm adding a little bit of removable adhesive onto the back of my feathers, and I'm using a stamping tool to help me out here just because I wasn't sure how it would go stamping on the wood, just so it kind of gives you that option as well. But I am lining up all of the sentiments on top of my wooden feathers, and this was from the All the Little Things Letter It stamp set. I love this stamp set. I've used it so many times. And what is really cool about this is I popped these in my Misty just to check as well, but they are the same thickness as if you were using a rubber stamp or anything, so you can just take out that foam part of your Misty. They should work in most platforms, I think. But anyway, it worked fine in this one also. And the first impression, just stamping it once, worked out pretty good, but I actually ended up doing it again. I'm using some Ranger Archival black ink, and I'm heat setting it just so that I know that it won't smudge or go anywhere, but it did stamp really well. Now on the back of my panel, I have got some double-sided tape, which I'm going to line up with a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch 110 pound Nina Solar White card base, and it takes up the whole 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. Mistake there where I accidentally poured out way too much of the gold paint. I've got a little bit there which I'm going to add some water to because I want some nice little gold flecks onto this. So I'm using a really fine paintbrush. The smaller and finer the paintbrush, then technically the smaller and finer the droplets you should get. I'm going to dry them with my heat gun, mainly because I'm impatient, and then it's just a matter of putting the rest of the card together. So I'm going to pop on my nice thick frame that we made using the 4 layers of cardstock, and you can see there it just really divides the kind of toned down butterflies really nicely. I am glad that I did that step. I'm using a little bit of hot glue to glue together my little wooden feathers, and then just to kind of finish off the feathers, I'm actually going to add a little bit of this. It's kind of like thick twine or cord, I guess. I'm just going to add a little bit in a plain double knot, not even tie a bow, just a nice plain knot up the top. Even some colored twine would look really nice here. I actually did tie this in a bow to begin with, but it looks just way too bulky and not right. So as I said, I just ended up doing a plain double knot, and I liked that look best. I'm going to cut off the end little pieces as well, just so that they're a nice length, and then use some hot glue to attach the feathers onto the front of the card as well. That's my card for today, you guys. I hope you like this one because I really love this. I love how it turned out. I love reading your comments down in the comment section down below, so please leave me a message letting me know what you think of this one, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.